YaHelloVoice.com.
He's the one, the only, the BAWB, joining us. Hello, Voice.
When a recovering Islamophobe talks. This is to pay a compliment, so I've got to convert to Islam, then I've got to go with a satchel of money apparently to Ramallah jewelers.
Absolutely.
BAWB and the friends. Now, all of a sudden, you have Americans and you have Europeans coming in and moving in to Israel on what's called the right of return, where they're given a free right of return. They didn't grow up there. They didn't live there. They didn't live there 20 years ago. Now they live there. Bob, and they moved in there from Europe, and they're given the right of return. What happened to the Palestinians that lived there? Yalla BAWB, انزل على الدبكة. Hey, exciting things going on here at Yohala Voice. This is the BAWB. Is filling in, and soon will be filling in for me. But back from Gaza are our good friends from Team Palestine. Rhonda will be checking in next week. Hopefully we're going to have her in studio with us. She's just got back and probably really jet lagged. So we're going to have her in next week. Rush will be coming on here in a little bit. He'll be telling us again about his adventures with the documentary that he's working on, Crossing the Line. Pretty exciting that we're going to, the work that he's doing and the people that he's gotten to work with in getting this done, and pretty exciting that also that a Team Palestine member finished in first place, over there. But one of the things, speaking of running and Team Palestine, one of the things we all can do to get involved, you heard on the news and I don't speak Arabic, it was translated for me, but you heard on the news here that was just read off is that Gaza pretty much is been blockaded totally. They have no building supplies. It's very difficult. One of the things that PCRF has been doing, the Palestine Children's Relief Fund, has been trying to build a hospital there for care there's just incredible amount of needs there, but obviously healthcare is a huge part of it. Dr. Mads Gilbert has a prescription for Gaza. It starts with many things even before you get to, the healthcare, but you're talking with basic sanitation. You're talking with water. Let's not forget that the water plant was bombed there. You're talking with the ability to get power, talking about economic livelihood, how to give these people the ability to fish even. That's been restricted on how far they should be able to go. They should be able to go out 20 miles. That is international standard, out into the water, 20 miles out. They are only allowed about 3 miles out, which severely restricts their ability to fish for food. So a lot of these self-sufficient things have been taken away from the people of Gaza. And it's essentially a large prison camp, a 7-mile by 26-mile wide prison camp, that is walled in. People can't come and go. Completely restricted. Everything in and out is completely restricted. It is a 24/7 blockade. Now, anywhere else in the world, a 24/7 blockade would be considered an act of war. For some reason, some odd reason, we have all been duped into the idea that this 24/7 blockade of Gaza is not an act of war. Anywhere else it would be. But for some reason, not here in Gaza, and hasn't been for about, I want to say the last, 7 years? Khaled, is that about how long it's been blockaded now? Gaza been blockaded for 7 years? Do you know? Something around there. It's getting darn close to that. In any event, one of the ways that we can get involved is there is a Run for Gaza coming up, the Gaza 5K here in Chicago on April 23rd. It's going to be down at Lincoln Park, 4400 North Lakeshore Drive. And it's on April 23rd, starting at 8:30 a.m. You can go ahead and donate. They have a simple goal of $65,000. They are 80% there to the goal. Today is the last day that you can sign up at the discount. I know, this may sound stereotypical, but Arabs like to wait until the last minute. Arabs also like a discount. Okay. Those two things together means today is the last day you can register and get the discount, okay? So you have to register today if you want to get the discount for signing up for this race. Again, it's a simple 5K. You can get the information on this race by going to their webpage, Get Involved, UNRWAUSA.org. Again, that webpage, Get Involved, .unrwausa.org. That is all the information on the run. The weather's turning very nice, folks, so it should be a wonderful run next weekend. It's a 5K. Come on. A 5K is 3.1 miles, folks. You can walk that in a little over 15 minutes. All right. So even if you're walking it, you know what? No. 12 minutes a mile. Yeah. 45 minutes. Let's call it 45. You're going to walk a 5K in 45 minutes. So spend, an hour on a nice day in Chicago down at Lincoln Park. It's a great setup down there. You can go ahead and run that, or walk that. The winner of just to give you an idea, the winner of the, Bethlehem Run for Peace, that they had over there, or the Right to Movement, the Bethlehem Right to Movement. He would finish that race in, he finished the whole race in 2 hours. He finished 26 miles in 2 hours and 35 minutes. He'd probably finish it somewhere around 15 minutes. I'm thinking, he was running about 5-minute miles. 5-minute miles. Think about that. Averaging 5-minute miles for 26.2 miles in the hills of Bethlehem. It just blows me away. Nice flat track out here. He'd finish it probably in about 15 minutes. Probably sub 15 for him to do a 5K. I get winded thinking about that. I don't know if I could drive that fast, but yet, or bike that fast, certainly. And in fact, in one scene, of him in this video, hopefully that'll come out that Rush is going to put out, he is running the streets of Bethlehem. He's running the streets over in Palestine, and an ambulance goes by him. And the ambulance doesn't speed by him. He is running down, and he's running. I mean, he's at a full outright sprint, and that ambulance is just kind of going by him just at a slow pace. It's kind of a fun thing to watch. But anyway, get involved. Simple thing we can do. Even if you don't go, donate your $35. You can go to that webpage. There's a link there on how to donate. You donate your $35. If you go down and register, at least you can even pick up your free t-shirt. So consider that being part of a free t-shirt. But it's kind of important that we send a really good message beyond the money. We need better imaging. We need to get a positive message out there. We need to let people know that, hey, it's okay to support the people of Gaza. As a matter of fact, it's the right thing to do, is to support the people of Gaza. Do we support, by supporting the people of Gaza, are we saying we support Hamas? No, it does not say that. There's a huge difference between the humanitarian aid that we're trying to get to these people in Gaza and saying that we support Hamas. We do not support Hamas. That's just plain and simple. We do support the people of Gaza, the poor people that have no economic future in front of them. I mean, their illness rate is incredibly high right now. They have no fresh water. They have no sanitation. The houses that were bombed, I want to say there were some, 20,000 houses that were bombed, I think, out. And so the number of homeless there is in the hundreds of thousands. So you've got 1.2 million people crammed in the small little dense area. Again, 7 miles by 26 miles. It is a very tiny area, and they're essentially completely isolated from the rest of the world, and we've got to do something. We've got to stand up and say that, you know what, we're no longer going to tolerate this, and we need better messaging in a way to get that across. And coming in shortly will be Ray Hanania, and the importance of Ray right now is to tell us the importance of messaging and how to get that message across and how to separate and how that essentially messaging is that fourth pillar. The fourth pillar of power. You've got police and government and soldiers, and you've got so many other issues. But the fourth pillar of power essentially is the way to promote yourself, the way of messaging, the PR and the influence. And right now, the Palestinians are losing that game big time, and certainly the people of Gaza are getting decimated because just people think that they hear Gaza and they associate that with terrorists. And that is absolutely the wrong thing to do. There are so many good, wonderful people from within Gaza, people that I've met, people that I've friended, that from within Gaza, and they want nothing to do with Hamas. So it's important that we separate that, and we learn to separate that, and we find an effective way to message that out there. And part of that is, I'm looking forward to it, is being down with the people at the race that's coming up again. That's the 23rd at 8:30 in the morning. Yeah, we're not running at night. 8:30 in the morning. And again, if you can't make it, you can just go there and donate. and they will gladly take the donation as well. You don't even have to show up to run. We've been going through a little stint here in politics, haven't we? We now have Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, two people on either extreme of the political spectrum, and both of them are doing extremely well. Donald Trump, will he wrap it up? Doubt it. But we're seeing now the emergence of Donald Trump 2.0. In the last week, we haven't heard much from Donald. We saw him last night on CNN. It was a really nice show where his family was there. And Donald, love him or hate him, Donald looked almost human last night. He looked like a man. He looked like a regular guy. He wasn't being bombastic. He wasn't lashing out at any minority group, whether it be the Hispanic community or the Arab community, the Muslim community. He wasn't lashing out at all. He was just sitting back. And since the introduction of his new campaign manager, we have seen a pivot in Donald Trump. We have seen and actually, I got to give this to my buddy Rush. He is absolutely right. He was saying that Donald Trump will be bombastic to a point, and then he will pivot, and he'll start changing the whole thing and changing his messaging and changing everything. And we've hit that pivot point. Everybody was thinking that, this big loss in Wisconsin that was handed to Donald Trump, he was leading in the polls, and then he came out and said a couple bombastic things and really was getting slammed. He was getting slammed hard in the media. He came out, his old campaign manager had a run-in with a female reporter and got charged, and then Donald Trump made the critical error of standing up for his campaign manager. There's no possible way that you can stand behind a man that reach over and grabs a woman and yanks her away. I'm sorry. There's no defense of that. There's absolutely none. You do not inflict physical in any way. You don't get physical with anyone. That's not an answer. But certainly a man to a woman that yanks her out of the way and then says it never happened. And Donald Trump tried to say it never happened. When videotape emerged showing that he actually did that, Donald Trump tried to play the game that he might have been fearful that she was trying to attack him with her pen, that her pen was some kind of weapon. Well, the pen can be a weapon, but only when put to paper, and put to paper effectively. There are some people that do it very well, and she worked for, I want to say she was working for Breitbart, which is a conservative outlet, conservative media outlet. And she works and so she was trying to get in questions. She ended up quitting her job because Breitbart didn't support her allegations. When she went to Breitbart and told them this is what happened, Breitbart brushed it off and brushed her off. She ended up quitting. Her editor ended up quitting because felt that she should have been supported and wasn't supported. So they both ended up quitting Breitbart. And Trump took his campaign manager's side with this act of violence against this woman, and rightfully so. The police then saw the tape and then filed charges because they could clearly see the tape. And yes, in fact, this guy did grab her and yank her out of the way and then try to say that no, he didn't do anything. He did it. You got to cop to it. You got to admit that you did something wrong. Had the guy admitted that he had done something wrong and apologized, I think this would all be behind us. And we wouldn't have thought anything. But then Trump made the mistake of supporting her. What happened? The end result was that Trump ended up falling drastically in the polls. In Wisconsin, you started to see his numbers completely upside down with women. His approval rating, he doesn't really have an approval rating of women that approve him, but his disapproval rating was 70% with women. That translates to an absolute landslide, in a general election. If you have 70% of women with a negative impression of you, you have no hope of winning an election in the United States. None whatsoever. That is the Republicans' problem. The Republicans are facing a huge crisis with women and minorities. That's planned obsolescence. The Republican Party will become a party of the past, We are not, they have to reinvent themselves. And I think that's what we're going to see in Cleveland. It's going to be an exciting convention. It really is going to be an exciting convention. I only hope that it doesn't end up being like the 1967 convention here in Chicago. Sorry, I was just checking some phone messages here to see what I've got going and see if somebody's efforting. Trying to effort now to get Ray Hanania on. Ray is a great author, longtime Chicago. He's been involved in the media in the Chicagoland area. I want to say since the early 70s. I'll have to check his beginning, but he's been around. Prize winning, has worked with the Sun-Times for years, was City Hall reporter, went on from there and became, he started no less than 3 media outlets on the internet, and one of them is the Arab Daily News, and that gets tons and hundreds of thousands of hits every day. So he's working hard at getting the message out there. And the question is that there's a headwind of a biased media. And how do you deal and how do you address that biased media? How do we – well, I'll tell you what. Phone lines are open, 708-321-1313, extension 1. Again, 708-321-1313, extension 1. So go ahead and give us a call and tell us your thoughts on what you think the bias in the media and how do you get past the bias in the media. The internet has been a wonderful tool for us. The internet allows us, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. There are many different ways of getting your message out there. And it's interesting to see how people can utilize that to take something and spin it and get a positive message out. Just yesterday, we were talking with a group of people how that this, many of you may have heard it, the musical called The Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon is down at, I don't know, it's still here in Chicago. But anyway, The Book of Mormon was essentially one that came out from the South Park. The guys who created South Park created this musical. And in doing so, they kind of lampoon, if you will, the Muslim religion. Muslim religion has it's essentially a continuation religion of Christianity. There are many unique parts of it. They follow the prophet, and I believe it's Smith is the prophet. But essentially, he believed that a message had been sent down to him and that he translated it into the Book of Mormon. And it's a very interesting, again, it's a follow-on religion behind Christianity. So it continues on beyond Christianity, but it's got some idiosyncrasies. The people in the Mormon religion wear what they refer to as secret underwear. The secret underwear protects them. They believe it's been blessed and it protects them. No caffeine, no alcohol, but anyway, a real strong emphasis on family values. Polygamy is permitted, within the religion, but they have to conform to their local state laws. So if you got outside of the state laws, they would allow polygamy. They had their own little uprising somewhere in Missouri, and essentially the people of Missouri kicked them out, and so they ended up all in Utah. And so Utah is but anyway, they made this big musical production, and in doing so, the Mormons would go to the shows, and they would stand out front, but they weren't there to boycott it, or they weren't there to protest. They essentially were handing out information cards to say that, look, we really hope you enjoy the show. It's very funny. But really, when you get down to it, it's not totally about the religion. And the religion isn't everything that they lampoon. If you want to learn more information, here's a website you can go to. And that was a really neat idea. That's a really neat concept of a way to take, if you will, take lemons and make lemonade. And we need to see people doing that more often. It's a very creative way to be able to take something coming in and spin it so that you can essentially get a positive PR spin out of it. It's hard to do, and it's also hard to keep emotion in check. Lots of times, and quite honestly, I think the Israeli government counts on this. It is, I don't want to say easy to inflame the emotions and to get people angry very fast, but it seems to work for them. And they know how to, if you will, poke the bear. And they sit there and instigate and instigate and instigate until they get a negative response back to which they can retaliate and look like, hey, look, we're just defending ourselves. That's been proven time and time and time again in their history that they do that. The engaging of collective punishment to the point where that finally people start to rebel. And then they say, hey, look, we're just defending ourselves. We're putting all these people in jail. We're building these walls. You look at the situation in Hebron. It is unbelievable what they're doing there. They've walled off large sections of the city and made them officially no-go zones. People coming in and out of there must show ID. So imagine being in your own neighborhood, and every time you left your neighborhood, you had to show ID. You had to, and subject yourself to search. Every time, going in and out, going in and out. And furthermore, if you take a look at a map, and most Americans have no concept of the Middle East at all. They really, I mean, if you laid out a map of the Middle East and told them to identify Iraq, I don't know what percentage. I would probably say we'd be below 10% of the people that would actually be able to point out which country, and even if they were all outlined, which country was Iraq. Would they be able to identify Israel? Palestine? I'm starting to get iffier and iffier every one. And going around. If you look at Lebanon and coming around, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, wouldn't have a clue. Egypt, they might. Yeah, I think Americans would be able to identify where Egypt is. Ask them where Libya is? Doubt it. Tunisia? Forget about it. Not going to happen. The Horn of Africa defines itself, so hopefully people would at least be able to get that. But we're so naive in what we know and what we understand over there. And if we had an idea where Hebron was in relationship to the 1967 border, and how far into the country it is, and how that essentially the Israeli government has come in and totally controls that, and the oppression, the occupation and oppression that is going on the people of Hebron right now is just unbelievable. I will bet that anybody that was there with Team Palestine had no chance of being able to go over and I don't think they would have any chance of going to Hebron. I think at one point in time they had talked about going down there on a tourist trip. Can you imagine taking a tourist of Hebron? That's like, right now, that's like a war zone. It really is. It's walled off. It's occupied. It's like asking to go take a tour, go on a vacation to Gaza. Gaza at one point in time was building itself up and actually had potential. When they opened the airport in there, they had a potential. I mean, that would be a nice resort area. You're right there. You've got great location. You've got a lot of beachfront. You're on the Mediterranean. It would be beautiful. And I would imagine that it could do that quite well. As a matter of fact, I bet there'd be coffee shops and restaurants and all sorts of things that people would go to want to visit. And that airport got shut down. I don't even know how long it was open. It was open during the Clinton administration. I remember Bill Clinton going over there, and very ceremoniously opening that airport. And I don't think it was open but a matter of months before Israel came in and bombed major parts of it. And since that point in time, they've essentially gone and gotten the concrete out of the runways and tried to reuse that for concrete in Gaza. And so that airport is non-existent at the present time. All shipping lanes have been denied. Turkey right now still has no relationship with Israel because of the trying to block or trying to break the blockade that they had of Gaza and going in there. Well, when we come back out of the break, we're going to get Rush on the line here and talk about Gaza, talk about his documentary, and talk about crossing the line. So when we come back, we'll have Rush on the line.
Ashiana Banquets, well known for their beautiful rooms, superior service, and great food. For all your special occasions, call Ashiana Banquets. We will take care of your wedding, engagement, henna parties, bridal shower, baby shower, or corporate events. Reserve today at 630-964-7090. 630-964-7090. Ashiana Banquets has easy parking and seats up to 900 guests comfortably.
اتصل على أشيانا Banquets واحجز لجميع مناسباتك. 1620 75th Street in Downers Grove, Illinois.
مانكاريز كرايسلر جيب دوج اند رام. أحسن شيء إنه عنده برنامج خاص للعرب والمسلمين بدون فوائد. يعني 0% فوائد. هذا غير إنهم بيحكوا عربي وعندهم جميع أنواع السيارات جديد ومستعمل. مانكاريز في أوكلان على استعداد إنهم يوفروا لك التقسيط حتى إذا أنت جاي من البلاد جديد ولسه ما عندك كريدت، أو إذا في عندك مشاكل بالكريدت هم بيعملوا كل جهدهم ليحلوها. هذا غير العروض الخاصة لمستمعين يا هلا فويس. إذا حبيت سيارة خدها لفة وجربها وبعطوك $25 كارد حتى لو ما بدك تشتريها. مانكاريز 4630 West 95th Street in Oakland, Illinois. 888-631-9187. الرقم مرة تانية 888-631-9187.
Hi, I'm Frank Mancari. I will be at the dealership every day to guarantee you will pay while we pay. And you will drive home today.
Man carries the one.
Join us at Moraine Valley Community College for our open house for high school students and their parents. To learn why 1/3 of high school students in our area start their college education at Moraine Valley. Learn about the transfer process. Complete the first 2 years of your bachelor's degree here and save thousands of dollars. Take a tour of the campus and meet faculty members. Open house for high school students and their parents, March 19th, 9 a.m. to noon in Building S on our Palos Hills campus. For more information, go to morainevalley.edu.
Register now at morainevalley.edu, and so you can say,
I will achieve my goals.
I will achieve my goals.
I will achieve my goals.
To your generosity that Zakat Foundation of America provides humanitarian support in many countries around the world. Jordan, Syria, Ghana, India, Afghanistan, and Mali, to name a few. Together, we are able to build water wells, mosques, and schools, sponsor orphans, and distribute life-saving food, warm clothing, and medical supplies. Be a part of something great this year and donate. Even $1 from you could go a long way, providing warmth, safety, education, and nutrition to someone in need. To learn more, please visit zakat.org. That's zakat.org.
علي صوتك مع صوت يا هلا.
And we're back with some new bumper music. Hey, I like that. Anyway, back here at Yahala Voice, this is Bob. And on the line with me now, my buddy, Big Rush. How are you, bud?
You know, Bob, it's a hard world. But at the end of the day, if we all just stick together and have positive energy, we'll all make it. We will all make it.
I like that message. Well, listen to you, Mr. Positivity. Wow. Usually you're like Eeyore. It must be a sunny day out.
I don't know I was that bad, Bob.
No, you're not that bad at all. But you know what? Lately, you've been like the little rose of sunshine. You've been nice to everybody, paying compliments. It's like I'm not even somewhat used to it, So it's kind of like the Rush 2.0.
Well, ever since I pledged my support to Hillary Clinton and all the hate mail that I got, I feel like kindness is the only way to get me out of this jam.
You know what? And another area that I've got to give you props on is you're calling how Donald Trump was going to pivot at some point in time. and be this completely different person. And I think we are seeing it. I think we are seeing the release of Donald Trump 2.0.
He has to. I think he's at a point now where, for many reasons, not to appeal to the middle-type voter or the swing state voter, he's at a point right now where he needs to start appealing to his base. The Republicans don't like him.
Nope.
And he needs to start looking like a sweetheart. He's been looking like more of like a tough jerk that everybody loves. But now he needs to soften up a little bit. If you watch that CNN special with him and his family,
he looked almost human.
With Anderson Cooper, he looked like a kind of a swell guy. He does have a likable side.
Yes, he does.
When you dig a little deep, and he needs to bring that out a little bit more. The problem is he needs to be careful not to sell out the current base that's supporting him, and that's kind of tough. How does he play that game?
I don't think
because
he can.
Every junk he's thrown at the wall, everything he's slung to the wall has stuck. But the nice guy Trump, the central type Trump, the fair Donald Trump, that could be his demise with his base.
I don't think so.
Crazy as that sounds.
I don't think so. I think he's absolutely right in that his base that he has, the people that are fanatical about him, that he is absolutely right. He could walk out in the middle of the street and shoot someone and be caught on videotape and they still would support him. I firmly believe that. I really do. I think they've all somewhat kind of expected this at some point in time, that he was going to have to pivot and be this different character. And I think the losing in Wisconsin, and it wasn't just losing. He got thrashed in something where he...
So what, though? Okay, hold on now. That's a big state to lose. But once again, I love this illusion that Ted Cruz is pulling off. So he won Wisconsin. Good for Ted Cruz. But Donald Trump has dominated him.
Donald Trump
I just
has.
don't get it.
And
he has dominated him. He's going to win New York by a lot. I know last week you told me something about comments he made about women. That's going to hurt his polling in New York. I said, no way. I guarantee you Donald Trump gets at least 60% of the vote in New York.
You think he's going to get 60%?
I think he's going to get 60% of the vote in New York. He's going to win Pennsylvania. He's going to win that whole that East Coast pocket. He's going to win.
He's going to have a good couple weeks. There's no doubt here. Now, whether that will give him momentum back again.
Hold on now. I think we all can agree that last week losing Wisconsin, in my opinion, was Donald Trump's first really bad week. He's had too many good weeks. And now he's going to have another good week. And by the way, Hillary Clinton's also going to have a good next week, 2 weeks. Going to be more competitive. But my opinion is, and I know you're feeling the burn. I know all my Arab friends are feeling the burn. But it's now time for Hillary Clinton to start closing things out as well. Because the way the delegate is set up, the way the system is set up, it's just Bernie Sanders is screwed.
And isn't that...
You know what I'm saying? He's screwed.
I do. But isn't that part of what the objection is here? Isn't that part of the draw of Bernie Sanders? Isn't that part of the draw of Donald Trump? In the aspect where that people don't like the way the system is. That the way the system is bent towards the establishment party, the establishment candidate. Now, mind you, Cruz is anything but establishment. I mean, it's pick your poison on the Republican side. You know,
but it's important though. These rules were in place. I understand they are not establishment candidates, even though I tell you, Bernie Sanders, he's been in the Senate for so long. The only one to me that's not an establishment candidate is Donald Trump. People need to stop with this Bernie Sanders like as if he just came out of the woodworks and he lives in some camp area in the East Coast.
Bernie
Sanders been around for a lot of years.
Vermont is that camp area. Vermont is that little. They are
yes and no, but
diehard independents.
Though he's a long-term senator who does claim he's independent, but now he's running as a Democrat because it doesn't matter what he runs.
Share with me,
independent or Democrat.
Share with me any other senator in the United States that has had a town hall meeting where the people in that town hall meeting were animate about the fact that the Palestinians were not getting treated as people and that we had an unfair approach to that struggle. There is a videotape out there where Bernie's answers were party line Israel, were the pro-Israel party line is what Bernie was giving back. But those people in Vermont were animate about the fact that the issue with Palestine is one-sided. You cannot show me another town hall meeting anywhere in the U.S. where those people have that kind of voice and that kind of comment to be made. So I say Vermont is a camp all its own, and they are unique. And we'd be better off if people that well informed about the situation were more indicative of people across the United States, because I think we'd be a lot better served if that were the case.
Let's turn this around just for a little bit. We are all like that. The competition works in our favor, we say nothing. But when it works against us, then we have a problem. If Bernie Sanders had a huge lead right now, and again, let's just throw that out there. If Bernie Sanders had a huge lead right now, and the delegates and the superdelegates were working in his favor, and now Hillary Clinton is trailing him, and let's say in Wyoming, for example, by the time the race is done, that it's Bernie Sanders or it's Hillary Clinton that ends up like losing out on the delegate count, even though that she won. The point I'm making is we always are against, when we're the ones that are down, we're always saying, what the heck is wrong with the system? So if this were opposite and Bernie Sanders had a huge lead right now, no one would be crying about the rules. Nobody would be crying about the system. You wouldn't.
All right.
But when it's not working for you, then just a little bit of a loser, Bob.
Here's what's wrong with this.
Feel the burn worlds, the rest of the Feel the Burn nation, some sore losers out there. That's all I'm going to say.
Here is what really frosts everybody's backside. Bernie Sanders goes into Colorado, wins 55% of the vote. Hillary Clinton wins 45%. They walk out of there, you would think 55-45. All right? You've got
true.
You've got 18 delegates, then maybe 55% of them should go to Bernie and 45% of them should go to Hillary. That sounds like that would be fair. That sounds like the way it should be done. But the way the establishment is set up, Hillary Clinton got 45% of the vote, got 11 delegates. Bernie Sanders got 55% of the vote and got 7. Absolutely the opposite of the way you would. Your popular vote means nothing.
It doesn't make sense. What's the point of voting when it's set up this way? I couldn't agree with you more.
And that's what I'm saying. Where you're hearing the rebellion.
So if this were an opposite situation where our friend, your friend, Feel the Burn, Bernie Sanders, was the one benefiting from this rule, you would not be crying this.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. It's not about Bernie. It's not about Bernie. It's not about Hillary. It's about a system.
It's about a system that doesn't work.
That is unfair. Okay. And here's the other one I'll take. I'll even take Donald Trump's side in this. Because Donald Trump didn't get any delegates. Because they didn't even really have a real true election. They had a caucus, I guess, as some kind of caucus operation where that.
Yeah, I'm a believer in it. They should just have a winner-take-all system. That's my opinion. That's what makes it exciting.
Well, no.
Winner-take-all. You win, you get all the delegates. You lose, you're out.
That's the way the final election is set up. That's the way the Electoral College is set up.
It should be set up that way as well, because what ends up happening, because of this weird system of how delegates are distributed, people like Kasich or Cruz, they get to hang around. And if they had it set up that way, right now we know who our nominees would be, whether we want to hear it or not. Hillary Clinton would probably be the most likely be the nominee. Donald Trump for sure would be the nominee out of the Republicans.
Okay, guess who makes the rules? These superdelegates, the superdelegates behind the system, behind the setup do. So, you get guys like.
It's been set up like this for years now, Bob.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. That's why that's the draw of the anti-establishment people. That's why people are saying, I don't want that.
Yeah, usually by now, the reason why people have finally caught on to this is because usually by the first round of Super Tuesday, the Super Tuesday where they have 13 states.
We're already decided.
By then, we already know who the winners are, and then now it's just a formality.
Right.
So this is the first year where things have gone deep. The Republican establishment do not want to see Donald Trump be the winner. So Cruz, Kasich, they kind of hung around. So the system has been exposed.
Yes.
And for Hillary Clinton, yes, Bernie Sanders, which, he has shocked the world. He's made this an extremely competitive race. He's a legitimate candidate, way more legitimate, by the way, Ted Cruz. And I'm not talking views and policy. I'm just talking in terms of competitiveness. Bernie Sanders has proven that he is right in the thick of this thing, but this is why the system is being exposed. But I know you're not saying this, but it's not Hillary Clinton's fault. That's all I'm saying. People are making out to be that, like, Hillary Clinton's now even a more dirty player.
No, and you're right.
System. I mean, it's working in her favor. And part of running for president is very similar to winning a championship in football. Or luck plays a role where things just go your way. And that's what's happening with Hillary Clinton. Things are kind of going her way, whether she wins a state or not.
I think, and it looks like she's going to wrap things up. I mean, it really does. I mean,
you know, the thing is, I mean, I'm going to sound like a real fool right here. California is one of the last states, right?
It is the last state.
Yeah, and now I'm going to tell you right now, Hillary better wrap this thing up. She better win New York, because if this thing is still like lingering all the way into California, where that's what's going to decide what the final delegate count, that's trouble for Hillary Clinton. That's like going to a Game 7. Like, you don't want to go to a Game 7, Bob.
Okay, but you're going to a Game 7. You're going to a Game 7 in a state that would probably end up doing very similar to what happened in Colorado, where even if Bernie won it 45 or 55 to 45, even if he wins it by that decisive 10% margin, 10-point margin, the majority of the delegates are still going to end up going to Hillary. I mean, the chances
isn't it broken up into like different counties? California is complicated the way they distribute delegates.
They are a little more. I don't know exactly how it is, but yeah, but it's still with the super delegates.
There's different little counties, little pockets. 10 delegates there, 5 delegates there.
Right.
It's like little pockets that you have to win. And I'm not an expert at this, but my understanding, Bernie Sanders will do very well in California.
Bernie's going to do very well. He's going to do very well in California. He'll probably do better than he did in Colorado.
If she doesn't, first off, I do believe she's going to win New York. Oh. Not by a lot, but I'm guessing 8 to 10 percentage points she'll win New York.
See, I got the other way. I've got her breaking 60. I don't have Donald Trump breaking 60.
Really? You think Hillary is going to rock Bernie in New York?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah, and
oh man, am I coming on your show next Wednesday? I think you're off on this one. I'm guaranteeing Trump is going to wallop Cruz.
He's going to wallop Cruz, but he's not going to get 60.
And here I'm the one saying, no, I think Bernie's going to be competitive. He's drawing really large crowds.
Kasich is going to be a reject vote. You watch Kasich. Kasich is going to do very well in both Pennsylvania and New York. He's going to do better than he's done in other places. Cruz is not going to do that well.
Yeah.
But I think between the two of them...
Think about it. Here's why Donald Trump's going to win New York big. Whether we like the guy or not, for even an outsider like me, when I think New York... And I could probably put a list of 10 to 15 things that say New York. And I'm telling you, Donald Trump will make that list. It's a branding thing.
Yeah.
Wherever you go drive, the buildings, he is New York. He's going to kill it, man. I'm telling you, he's going to crush New York.
I get that feeling in certain areas and in certain boroughs. I think he is, and in the Republican side of things, he is. I mean, I get the biggest kick out of the fact that his kids can't vote for him. They forgot to. Did you hear that? That his kids forgot to.
Say that again.
His kids cannot vote for him.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that is so strange.
Yeah, they
Donald Trump's family, his family dynamic is a little weird because he's had multiple marriages, and it's kind of tough to know. Yeah, his family dynamic is a little weird. That's all I can tell you.
But they can't vote for him only because they forgot to register as Republicans. They forgot to.
Yeah, that's so bizarre. How do you mess that up?
Well, and because they don't know the system. This shows you that the family does not know that his whole campaign did not know how to run a campaign, and that they, quite honestly, weren't really serious about it. Because if they were serious about it, they would have switched their allegiance to Republicans long ago. They would have had a campaign manager that knows how to run a national election. And not just this stand out in front and I mean, he was capable of sucking the air out of the room at the beginning stages and wiped out probably half the field just by taking. You know, I mean, 17 people started out running. He knocked a whole bunch of them out, and a bunch that people didn't think were going to go easy. Chris Christie, Bush.
Well, I mean, look, the guy has shocked. He shocked the world, Bob.
And Rubio.
You know, Bernie Sanders shocked the world, but again, I'm going to tell you right now. Bernie Sanders, to me, maybe because I used to follow him, I used to listen to Bernie on the radio all the time.
You
He's a
did?
long-term politician. So he's been around. People make it out to be, like I said, people make it out to be that Bernie Sanders he's new to the game. No, he's not. He's been around for many, many years.
He's old school, but he's a bleeding heart liberal. He's way, way, way far on the left. Rush, I don't align myself politically at all with Bernie Sanders. All I do when I say I support Bernie Sanders, I support the anti-establishment vote. It's important to differentiate there. I'm not supporting, the policies of Bernie Sanders.
I know it sounds nuts, and I've always said this before, is that in the system that we're in, and I could be wrong, one day will be different, but the way things are today and for the next probably 15, 20, 30 years, the establishment is going to win. The candidate that's going to do best for America based on the way the system is, an establishment candidate will be better than the outside renegade maverick candidate that you and so many people like. And yes, that establishment candidate are going to say a lot of really tough things, especially about Palestinians and being pro-Israeli.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to be in office, and we need to start realizing that and start lobbying and begin to make moves based on that.
Absolutely.
My opinion is we have too many people that are living, and I hate to say this, and I know some of your people are listening to this show on Facebook and everything. What do? They're not part of the political process. They're not involved. They're not engaged on a local level. So what ends up happening is once every great while, something interests them. And right now we have too many people that are kind of, hanging around Facebook, feel the burn. They're kind of part of that cult, if you will, which is cool, but they're not part of the system, and they don't have a wide range knowledge of how things are. They're just, go Bernie.
Well,
you got to understand, a guy like Bernie, he's not fit for the rugged, ruthless system.
I'm going to give you 3 examples of people that are involved in the system. First of all, Amr Tsar. He has jumped in. He is now a surrogate for one of the candidates, and
I see that. I see that he's all burn. I know that.
Yep, Linda Sarsour.
Linda Sarsour.
She
all burn. Good for her.
Yeah, you know what? And she's another one. She actually introduced him. I mean, to the point where that you've got
she's
2 Palestinian.
Well. Hey, there's nothing. Yeah.
You've got 2 Palestinian Americans, both of them. One of them a devout Muslim, the other one, kind of like we would call him a Church and Easter Muslim. Shows up for the main holidays.
He's got a good grip on the way. He's got a good grip. Ahmadinejad has got a good grip on, the social status of Arabs in America and Americans in general. So
he's got a good one.
But both are very qualified.
But you also
say, hey, we know what we're talking about, and we support Bernie Sanders. I just respectfully disagree with him.
And you also have Bernie Sanders willing to go into a newspaper editorial thing and say, look, we need to pivot here, and we need to respect the Palestinians' rights. When have you ever heard a presidential candidate say that?
And you know what else this says? And then this is why I do respect this heavily. I think one thing you've learned about me, Bob, I'm not the type who just will criticize everything about somebody just because I didn't vote for him.
Right.
The one thing that Bernie Sanders has done that has been great is he's set the tone to say this, that I'm going to say I'm pro-Palestinian, or I believe that the Palestinians have a right to their land, have a right to security, have a right to water. He can say all those things. Those words can come out of his mouth, and the polls still will work for him, and he can still go out there and be competitive and still win.
Yep.
So Bernie Sanders has proved that you can see these words and still get donations.
However,
still win states, still get votes.
However, the day after he said that, you had both the ADL coming out and having statements, and also Hillary Clinton trying to make hay out of his statements and saying, that they're how can you even equate their rights? You've got Hamas and so I mean, yeah, Hillary Clinton.
Well, remember what
really
Hillary.
Bugged me there.
We all know it's not as bad as, and I will say this, Bob, and I could be wrong. Hillary has made it very clear. Hillary Clinton has made it that she is really she is going to kiss some serious Israeli. You know what?
You got it.
I mean, she's going to go out of her way.
Yep.
It's strategy more than passion. It's strategy. It is all about when I get into the general election, I need the deepest pockets possible, and I need their money. So I'm going to say whatever means necessary.
And
does Hillary Clinton really believe? Does she really believe in it? I don't believe so. What she believes in is if I say all the right things and push all the right buttons, I'm going to get some very, very nice contributions from AIPAC and members of the elite Israeli community.
$34 million from one guy alone. $34 million to one guy alone, who is the Democratic Sheldon Adelson, who wants to see a greater Israel. So I mean, yeah, that is. I got background somewhere. Sorry about that.
I like Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I like her because I think she can be lobbied. I know it sounds crazy and everybody thinks I'm nuts. Hillary Clinton can be lobbied if she's the president of the United States.
Well, in order for that to happen, the Arab community needs to get its act together and
don't
work together
know. Come on, man. It's
in a strong,
they see her as
positive
a war
direction.
criminal.
Yeah.
What's crazy, Bob, is she worked under under President Barack Obama. She's a war criminal, but nobody will say Barack Obama is. Everything she has done is under the authority of President Obama. But yet Hillary Clinton is the devil. Hillary Clinton is the blood on her hands.
Yep.
I mean, where are people getting this from?
Yeah.
What about President Obama? No. It's Hillary.
One of the
I have
things.
no time for your friends, Bob. I have honestly.
Now wait
I know
a minute.
I'm losing my confidence.
One of the things.
I have no time for your Bernie.
One of the things that a primary's responsibility of doing, and that is preparing the candidate for the general election. You think things are bad now? You wait till she's the candidate and going against a Republican. You want to see some nasty stuff. Buckle in. Because it's going to get downright ugly. I mean, right now against Bernie, it's two friends sparring in a ring. You know, we're gonna try to keep it clean. But when she gets into that general, they are going to go for the absolute knockout. Hey, let's spin here in the last 4 minutes we got. Spin here a little bit. Tell me a little bit more about the documentary. How are things going with the documentary? What's been on the charts this week?
Well, all I could say is that we just got back from filming for 2 weeks, and the story is about, and we're sticking to the theme, is that Rush and Bob, we can run and go wherever we want to go, but in Palestine you can't.
Right.
And that's really what we covered deeply with covering the marathon, and then going into a couple of refugee camps in the Palestine area, and just watching people being restricted. And then that's really what we're working on, or what we have been working on the past 2 weeks. For us, what's next is, and planning for the future, we have Run for Peace coming up in September. That's going to be huge.
Yep.
And of course, just interviews as time goes by, Bob. I mean, right now we're taking a little bit of a break before we start move on to the other stuff. But with the Chicago Marathon, Run for Peace, and of course all the runs that we'll start covering as well, the group runs during Ramadan. A lot coming up, but right now we had a lot of stuff done with the Bethlehem Marathon.
I know some individuals are going to be running in the Gaza run here coming up on April 23rd, downtown Chicago. The UN RWA USA.
Yep.
That run down the Gaza run down there. I know individuals, but that's not an official Team Palestine function, right?
It actually, just to give you an update, it actually is going to be an official Team Palestine run.
Awesome.
We are running as a group. We are a sponsored charity for the event as well.
Oh, excellent.
So yeah, we will be there. I will be emceeing the event as well, or race announcing the event. So we will be involved with that race, the Fezza 5K. Coming up next Saturday, not this Saturday,
right.
Next Saturday.
Right. 10 days away right now. So for those of us that haven't started training, we can get on it really fast and then run that 3.1 miles. So yeah, to get that done. And hopefully the weather's going to be nice.
And also, Bob, looking forward to covering you throughout leading up to the Run for Peace. I mean, you are definitely going to be featured in a documentary, and I'm looking forward to that as well. You
know what? We've got to get like tortoise in the hair music.
I was actually being serious.
We got to get we got to get like tortoise in the hair. Here comes Bubba.
It's not about the time. It's not about the pace. It's about it's about an American who understands the struggle.
And when are you headed? I do. And I believe it with all my heart and soul. Hey, and when are you going down to South Africa? I look at those folks and I am in awe of their Team Palestine. They are unbelievable.
Yeah. So we need to talk about you and me, because we only have 30 seconds left on the air.
You're right.
The Team Palestine South Africa just announced they're coming to run with us at the Chicago Marathon.
No way! No way. That's awesome.
So Mervyn Steenkamp is going to be representing Team Palestine for Peace at the Chicago Marathon.
Oh, and a
and we're
flat
looking forward
run.
to covering that as well.
Oh my God, he's going to be out there with the leaders. I'm going to have to get out like that 5:30 in the morning because that's about what time he's going to go whisking by me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly right. So, that's again, we have so much to cover with The Line Will Be Crossed. And, that is again one of the angles. A lot of things that we're doing, Bob, a lot of things, which is why really quick.
Breaking news.
The McLuba Bowl, April 29th. McLuba Bowl, April 29th.
April 29th.
All proceeds for the McLuba Bowl goes directly to supporting the documentary.
And what an important documentary it is. That is part of getting the message out there. And Rush, you do a great job of it. Hey, thanks for joining me here on Yahala Voice. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you next weekend when I can trump how well Trump didn't do, I should say. But we'll be in touch next week. I want to thank everybody here at Khaled and everybody here at Yahala Voice. Thank you very much. And I'll be back next week here at Bob and Friends.
قلل علينا شعر العرايس يا ربي يلعن بي المدارس قلل علينا شعر العرايس كانت الجيش بكيلوها رايس ضربتها 10-12 مليون ايوه بلش الدم يتحرك شوف يا عيني على الشباب الفلسطينيين على راسي احلى زمر يلا رغم اني ما بحبش الزمر بس عيونكم نعمل زمر
Yahala Voice.